I'm Pragnia.
My name is Mithran, and today we'll be presenting the rabies virus. All right, so rabies was first discovered in the 16th century by physicist Girolamo Fracastoro. But even before the 16th century, rabies has been mentioned in ancient literature as a disease that spreads through animal bites. The common symptoms of rabies include fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, agitation, anxiety, confusion, difficulty swallowing, hallucinations, insomnia, and partial paralysis. The parts of the body that rabies affects is the brain and the central nervous system. Rabies first enters through a cut in the skin, then travels through the nerves, damaging it in the process. It travels up the brain and begins attacking it too, causing violent behavior and aggression. Another interesting fact about rabies is that it most commonly only affects mammals. And never mind, okay. And, the picture to the right is the person who discovered rabies virus, Girolamo Fracastoro.
Okay, so the rabies virus is classified as part of the mononegavirales class, and they're essentially unique due to the fact that they're viruses with non-segmented and negative-stranded RNA genomes. And the basic structure of the rabies virus is that it's composed of an internal protein core, which contains the nucleic acid needed for replicating, an outer envelope, and a lipid-containing bilayer that's covered with transmembrane glycoprotein spikes. And the way that the virus replicates once it's in the host is by attaching itself to the host cell membranes using the G protein. It then penetrates the cytoplasm, and once inside, transcribes the five primary RNAs and creates proteins. These proteins are then used for the synthesis of a full-length positive-stranded RNA, which acts as a template. In order to test for the presence of this virus, we would use an indirect ELISA test with an N protein. In the test, purified rabies are used as an antigen, and the enzyme is the staphylococcal protein A, linked with horseradish. The virus is spread through biting, oftentimes when an animal carrying the disease bites another animal or person, creating a cut in the skin.
All right, so the first step to preventing rabies is to clean the bitten area immediately and thoroughly. After that, it's important to keep an eye out for any symptoms that represent rabies. If symptoms are evident, then the next step should be to seek out medical attention. The rabies vaccine, first developed in 1885 by Louis Pasteur, is what's going to be used to cure the disease. The rabies vaccine consists of an inactivated rabies virus. This virus cannot harm the body as much as the actual rabies virus, but it triggers the immune system to create antibodies to fight against it to build immunity. This would help the body be prepared for the actual rabies virus. And the picture to the right represents Louis Pasteur. He found the vaccine. He was the founder of it.
Public health. Everybody is able to receive this vaccine if their doctors deem that it's necessary. For animals, it's mandatory by the government and the CDC that they're given the vaccine in 3 different doses and then given boosters later on in their lives, as well as administered to those at high risk to the virus. So for example, healthcare workers who specifically work with the virus, so scientists who work with the rabies virus in labs, or just doctors and nurses, or veterinarians and farmers who work with animals on a daily basis. And the vaccine was mostly distributed to wildlife habitats, as workers there are at very high risk of the disease, as well as evenly distributed to hospitals in case of an emergency. It is highly successful in treating the disease, however, only in certain conditions. The vaccine was set to work 97% effectively, but only if given immediately after the patient catches the virus or they know that they've been bitten, and before they start showing symptoms. This would mean that patients would have to regularly come in if they were bit, or just that if they were suspicious, to get tested just in case. And if they tested positive, then the vaccine would have to be given to them immediately before they started showing symptoms. However, if they don't do this and then come in too late, the vaccine has virtually no use other than curbing a few symptoms. The vaccine is still in use today, and there have been many different rabies vaccines produced throughout history. But the one in use today was made fairly recently, being 20 years ago, and it's still found to be pretty effective, so it's still in use.